My name is Victoria and you're watching Plantastics. I'm going to be showing you the spikes, peduncles, and blooms that I have currently. So without further ado, let's roll the intro. So we are in my office, which means there's tons and tons of violets because I love being able to see beautiful things while I'm working. So this one here is purple with like white flecks, and it's a miniature, and it's called Hunter's Primal Scream. So I've been trying to collect the Hunter's varieties because I just think that they have the funniest names. Next is this one, which is, I believe it's Cajun's Little Joy. Let's see. This one I've had for a while, and then some of the others are newer. Yeah, Cajun's Little Joy. So this one is beautiful. You can see when I started fertilizing again, because I think it's the lack of nitrogen that makes the leaves more variegated. Here is my tiniest one, and I really like how this perfectly fits. This one's Hunter's Blizzard. From there, we have this almost solid white one. I just repotted it. It's Jolly Mill, and you can see again with the fresh soil, the greens coming back. And this is really small, so you may not be able to see, but this is like a miniature Oncidium. So this is a spike here. It'll bloom. It's bloomed for me before. This one also is blooming for me again. So if you look right there, there's like this tiny little nub. That's the beginning of a spike. And this one is Harella retrocala. And then we've got some others in here, but we are really just interested in what's blooming. So we're fixing to move on. Next is this really pretty orchid. Let me see the labels in here. And I put it in here because it just didn't look pretty to just kind of have it hanging. So this one is Jarrick Rainbow Shushi. So you can see it's literally about to bloom. I've got it here, and there's a Hoya imbricata coming out. I'm going to link this planter because people are really interested in it. Okay, so I'm kind of all over the place. So I've showed you the top shelf. I've showed you what's in the orchidarium because that's what this is. Now we're going to go down a shelf. This right here is Alaskan Frost, and it is an absolutely beautiful variety. It is reminiscent of Snowy Halo, which is another variety that I had but no longer have. Here is Ma's Arctic, an amazing wedding gift from a violet friend. Here is next Snowy Egret. As you notice, it has elongated leaves. If you compare it to this one's round. Most of them are kind of round. The borders can vary. This one's smooth. This is serrated. So now we are going to go and we're going to see more flowers. So here is Lightspeed. I accidentally knocked this off. So you can see it almost looks like a chimera, but it's not. So here's the actual plant. And you can see it's just so pretty. This one was the first one to open, and this one was the second. Sometimes I get impatient and I will just remove the first bloom because it just seems like they don't want to open correctly. See how perfect this one is in comparison? And this one opened in like 2 days, and I think this one's on its 4th day and it's still not open, but it is a significantly larger bloom. Here is another violet. I do have a few more miniatures than I used to. And having violets, it's just easier to have smaller ones because you can have more. This one's Jolly Fireball. I also really love the Jolly varieties. This is not a miniature, it's Cranberry Sparkler. So since we're talking about flowers, this one is constantly blooming, and this is my Maranta. We've got quite the show over here on the dancing wall. So there are a lot of spikes. So my Miltoniopsis love winter and they love spring because that is when they bloom, not fall really, but definitely whenever there's a change in temperature. So I'm going to start here. So this was a bag baby, y'all. This is Nodosa brassivola. It's a hybrid. And I got it as a bag baby, and I noticed whenever I opened it that it had spikes. I've never had a bag baby have spikes before. So I didn't notice that until I'd gotten home, and I was just like, I felt like I hit the jackpot. I personally don't gamble, but this is as close to a jackpot as I've ever gotten. So you can see these have been open for a really long time. I don't really remember when I got this. I think it was after my honeymoon, so sometime in October. But you can see it's just going gangbusters. We have 1, 2, 3 spikes, 4 spikes, 5 spikes. And there's another one back there, but I'm not going to bump anything and potentially knock something over. So back here, we've got a Richard Mueller orchid. And this is the beginning of a spike. If it'll focus, you can see it there. I've heard Richard Mueller orchids are amazing because they change colors. And that is exciting. So next is my Miltoniopsis Lillian Nakamoto Tanto. She has been blooming since September. And you can see she's starting to fade, but even as the flowers fade, they're still beautiful, lovely fragrance. Speaking of fragrance, this one has one as well. It smells kind of like clove, but it's really faint. So I read that it smells like clove. I personally cannot smell it, but I can smell this one. And my amazing plant sitter sent me pictures when I was on my honeymoon, whenever it first opened, and I was so happy because when I came home from being gone, my house just smelled like this orchid, which is a very lovely smell. Here's my coconut orchid. No spikes yet, but it has definitely come a long way. Next is this one. And you can see the spike right here. That's the spike. And this is Brassivola Little Stars. And it's a Brassivola nodosa as well. I really like the leaves on these. And that's why I have so many Brassivola nodosa hybrids, is I just like how firm the leaves are. You really can barely bend them. Also, just like narrow leafed orchids, and I have tons and tons of light for them. So I think I've gotten through all the spikes on the orchids. Now there's one more. So this is a grocery store Phalaenopsis, and I liked it because it almost looks orange. And then I love epiphytic cacti. So I have red, and these are Thanksgiving cacti. Up top, we've got an Easter cactus. So it was literally a 2-inch cutting, and now you can see it's gone pretty crazy. But yeah, I love swaps because I personally have not seen an Easter cactus before, but I saw one at a swap. This lady has had one for over 20 years, and she shared a cutting with me. So I was able to get it. This is my giant pink Thanksgiving cactus, and it's so large. I had to divide it actually into 2 separate plants. I'm going to attach my most iconic photo. So it's pink, and I had a pink blazer, and it was just so perfect. I wish I'd had better lighting, but that's what we're working with. So that is it for the wall. There's one more that you're going to want to see. In my search to replace what is either Iowa, Wisconsin, or my Texas 2 Violet, I went to Lowe's and found this one. This one's beautiful. It's an Optimara. I haven't identified it yet. However, I don't think it's Texas 2. All right. So this has been blooming continuously, and I'm going to attach some photos. It smells pretty strong on the 2nd or 3rd day. I think the flies can smell it better than I can because I personally can't really smell it. But yeah, this is a succulent. All right, now for this one. This is, I think it is pronounced Jaiho's Pink Girl #1. And you can see it's a Phalaenopsis. It is crossed with Schlereriana. I think that's how you say. Anyways, this is going to be a very light pink, and it's going to be a fragrant Phalaenopsis, which I've never had a fragrant one. All the grocery store ones are really pretty, don't get me wrong, but they are not fragrant. Thank you guys Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, for liking. I love reading your comments, and also for sharing my videos. If you didn't know, I recently got monetized, so that's really exciting for me. I've been working towards this goal for 2 years now, and I'm so thankful for the amazing community that I've been able to cultivate and grow here. So until next time, I'll be seeing you next time. Goodbye.